welcome to WSDH Live, 91.5, Sandwiches Community Radio Station. My name's Jay McGrail, and I'm the chair of the Sandwich School Committee. I'm very honored today to have Mary Alice Moynihan, one of the Latin teachers here at SHS, with us to talk about the Latin program. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. McGrail. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's something that I don't know a lot about, is Latin, and one of the missions of my program is, for me personally, as the chair of the school committee, to learn more about everything that we're doing here in our high school and in our program in the district. So I know I've heard a lot of accolades with your program.
Well,
from
thank
all
you.
over the place. So it started last year. When I first heard about the program was after the national Latin exam that you said you're doing tomorrow, or hoping to do tomorrow. All the students that did so well in it. It was amazing, all the names of the students. There was so many of them that did well. So can you tell us a little about the program and what makes it unique to Sandwich?
Well, the program was initiated by Dr. Nicholson back in about 1990-91 when he wanted to establish Latin at Sandwich High School. At that time, actually before that, Latin had been taught by Mr. Eager, and Dr. Nicholson wanted Mr. Eager to go down to the new K through 8s and teach in the 7th and 8th grade, and he needed a teacher at the high school. It was a part-time position, and it was perfect for me. So I was hired by Mr. Norton, and I started at Sandwich High School in 1992. I had 2 small children, so the short schedule worked well with me. Mr. Eager had a vision for the program to begin in 7th and 8th grade, and then the students would then come to the high school and continue, and the program would expand beyond Latin 2 to Latin 3, Latin 4, Latin 5. And his vision was prophetic, because that's what we have today. Latin 1 begins in 7th grade at STEM Academy, and a student can continue on in Latin right through Latin 5 honors. And this year, for the first time, I do have one student that is studying the course requirement for the AP exam and plans to take the AP in May. And this particular student is doing it as an independent study. So it's grown tremendously, and largely due to the support of administration and parents and faculty.
So you started teaching Latin in 92 here at Sandwich. Were a lot of the other schools on the Cape and in the surrounding area offering it then? Or?
There weren't very many towns that were offering Latin then. Barnstable High School had a program, and Falmouth High School had a program. And now Latin's taught this is to the best of my knowledge. I had recently moved to Cape Cod, so I wasn't quite familiar with all the programs there. But now Nauset High School has a very strong Latin program. It's required at Sturgis, the charter school, as well as Rising Tide. Latin is taught in Plymouth North. It's taught at DY. It's Bourne High School. So it's grown tremendously.
So it's grown really.
Yeah, it really has. It really has grown exponentially on Cape Cod and even southeastern Massachusetts.
So it's clear to me that you love Latin.
I do. I always did. I just loved it. It was
clear.
It was easy. It was fun, and that's what I try to transmit to my students.
So why Latin? You're in 7th grade. You have a choice of all these different languages to choose from. Why Latin?
Latin is the foundation. It's the basis of all languages, including English. If you learn Latin, it's much easier to learn French or Spanish because you understand the roots of French and Spanish. You understand the grammar. In terms of English, it's such a benefit. My students do very well on their SATs, their PSATs, and that's been historically true. It's a tremendous foundation for all the sciences. If you think you might want to study medicine or nursing, I would recommend Latin. If you want to go into any sort of physical science or any agricultural, anything else, it's a great foundation. It's tremendous for writing, for literature. And even history. The foundation of our entire government is based upon the vision of the founding fathers who were well schooled in the classics. Our electoral college is based upon the election of a consul. We've studied that extensively in grade 8 and compared the election of 2016 to the election of a consul in ancient Rome.
Wow.
And these are sort of trivial facts, but yet the students can connect here and now
Yeah,
with
those are things I
Latin.
wouldn't think of right away at all.
Yeah, no,
You
no,
know?
the general public may not know that, but if you studied Latin, you realize that, and you use Latin. I've had teachers say to me, I've used Latin for my entire life. It's the one language that I use consistently.
Which is amazing because it's a language that's unspoken.
Right, and everyone calls it a dead language,
Yeah,
but in fact,
it's
it
not.
really is not, no.
It's not, it's on our
No.
dollar bill. I mean,
That's
it's
right,
everywhere.
that's right, it's everywhere.
It's
It's everywhere, it really is,
Yeah,
yeah.
as I was mentioning to you, at first when I sat down with you, I was thinking like, where do people use Latin? Like, what's going on? What is something that you get the benefit of this? And then immediately when you start talking about medicine and science, it brought me back to being in college at UMass when I had to learn about all the Latin names of the trees. I mean, I have an agriculture degree, and man, if I had taken Latin in high school, I think that would have been a lot easier for me. It was a challenge when you don't have any background with it.
Right, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, so the test that you said was coming up tomorrow, that we honored those students last year. Tell us a little bit about that and why Sandwich does so well at that.
Well,
And then you.
no. Well, it's different every year. We never know what the results will be. But in terms of success in the National Latin Exam, I really do need to attribute it to the administration. Dr. Boris has always supported it, Matt Bridges, Patrice Hurley, Ruth Joseph, every principal, vice principal for whom I've worked has been, and Mr. Newton is just, they've been great proponents of this exam. The National Latin Exam actually was begun in Virginia in the late 70s, early 80s, and it's grown exponentially. It's given in states throughout the country as well as Canada and Australia. And last year, about 150,000 students participate in the National Latin Exam. So while it is a National Latin Exam, it's also a select group of students who take it. And it's always given in the second week in March, usually around the Ides of March. So it's somewhat of a celebration. Students take the National Latin Exam on one day, and then the next day we celebrate the Ides of March. So it's a little bit of a break. It's a nice break in the long, dreary, and I guess this year snowy month of March. But
So
that's what we do.
How many of our students take that?
So all of our students in Sandwich, with the exception of 7th grade, are registered to take the National Latin Exam, and there are different levels. So 8th grade will take Latin 1, then students will take Latin 2, Latin 3, Latin 4, and we'll have a student this year, my independent study student, she'll take the Latin 5-6 exam. And so it's a standardized test, and then the students will take it on regular, I was filling the dots, and it goes down to Virginia, and it's scored, and then the results are then sent back up to prospective schools. It's the most populous states in terms of the number of students who take it are states, of course, that have very academic. Massachusetts has a large number of students that participate in the National Latin Exam. Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, those are Tennessee, Florida. Those are the states against whom we compete.
Yeah, I know last year we had some pretty proud parents that came to school committee when we honored some of the kids that did well on it.
Well, they also come from homes where their study skills are stressed, academics are important, and they support their teachers. So it sort of goes hand in hand.
So do you think a lot of those schools that we were talking about that offer it locally, are they offering it in 7th and 8th grade too, all the way up through the high school, or is that something that's unique to us?
I know in Barnstable, because I visited there a couple of weeks ago, students can begin Latin in 8th grade. And as far as I know, in Nauset and Falmouth, I believe it's 9th grade.
So
Plymouth schools, it's 9th.
So that is pretty unique.
It is. I mean, for us, in terms of offering Latin in 7th grade, I know that Norwell School District offers it in 7th. I think Hingham does, and then you're up again Boston with the exam school. So Boston Latin, Latin Academy, those schools offer it in 7th.
Well, one of the things that I try to do in this program is talk about what makes Sandwich unique, and why students should choose to stay here. And that to me is, if we're offering things that other people aren't offering, I mean, that's, if you have any interest in becoming a doctor or a scientist or any of those fields, I mean, being able to start that in 7th grade, I can see real value in that.
It definitely is. I mean, it is a feather in our cap, especially when you say, well, where else would you take it? And you really would then be looking at Boston.
Yeah.
You know, Jesuit schools, private schools.
Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome. So you like teaching in Sandwich?
I do. I do. I enjoy my students. I have wonderful students that come from terrific families. The families that I've met in the course of my career here have been exceptional and very special to me. They have gone above and beyond in terms of their support for the program. The administration here has been unbelievable. They have supported me in every academic endeavor and also every personal endeavor. I mean, you know, from the births of 3 of my children, major illnesses with my children, a long-term illness with my mother. I couldn't work anyplace else. I am so indebted to the town and to the administration for what they've allowed me to do. You know, I am very, very grateful.
Seems to me like the passion that you bring to teaching Latin and teaching here at the high school, we're indebted to you.
Well, you know,
We're lucky to have you.
Well, I'm very, very lucky. I say that to people all the time. I'm very, very lucky to have this job, and the town and the district has been extraordinarily good to me, and I'll be eternally grateful. You know, because they've allowed me to grow in ways that I just didn't imagine that I would. And you know, for instance, I remember when I first interviewed for my first job, I said, I wanted to teach Latin because I could start a Latin club. And last year we started a Latin club, and I've been teaching for a long time, but I finally fulfilled that
Check
role.
that off the box.
Check that off the box, yeah.
It's
And
always
we're
good to
having
be able to do
fun.
that.
We're having lots
So
of
now
fun.
we just got to get
So-
through the test tomorrow with no snow.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
All right, well, that's about all the time we have for the show today.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Oh, I thank you. I thank you very much, Mr. McGrail.
So this is
Okay.
Jay McGrail signing off for 91.5 WSDH Live, Sandwich's community radio station. Thanks.
WSDH Live is recorded at WSDH Studios in Sandwich, Massachusetts. We are executive produced by Paula Johnson with podcast production by Ryan Hill. He also made the music. Remember to check out WSDH on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app for more great content. As always, thank you for supporting Sandwich Community Radio. We'll catch you next time.